They're good.
Are we on?
Oh, yeah.
Or we're not?
They're good.
Yeah, we are alive. Estamos vivos.
Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia, el Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito sea el fruto de tu vientre Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. A warm welcome, bienvenido caloroso.
Más o menos.
See, I just turned the heat up. To Mother Mary Jude, who is our guest translator tonight.
Como ustedes saben, yo estoy aquí sustituyendo al Padre Michael.
Father Michael is on retreat. He's praying for us.
Padre Michael está en sus retiros espirituales y está orando por nosotros.
So it's possible he's taking a break from his prayers to watch us on.
Es muy posible que él esté, although lo dudo, although I doubt it, que él esté tomando tiempo de su retiro para escucharnos.
Yeah, so since he's not listening, we can talk about him.
Ya que él nos está escuchando, podemos hablar de él.
So, one thing that I wanted to emphasize in tonight's Fireside Chat was the beatification Saturday of Father Michael McGivney.
Un punto que quiero enfatizar esta noche en nuestra conversación es la ceremonia de beatificación del Padre Michael McGivney.
It is ironic that he's being beatified during a pandemic.
Es irónico que él lo van a beatificar durante una pandemia.
Because he died in a pandemic in 1890 at the age of 38.
Porque él murió durante una pandemia. ¿En qué año? What year?
1890.
En el año 1890 durante una pandemia. A la edad de 38 años. 38.
Yeah, 38 years old.
Yeah.
He was very young. And he, in addition to being just a very good priest,
Además de ser un sacerdote muy bueno,
he was a good son and brother to his family.
él era un hijo y hermano muy bueno a su familia.
Yeah. He was one of 13 children.
Él era uno de 13 hijos.
And 6 of them died in infancy.
6 murieron durante sus años de infancia.
So he took a break during his seminary training, and when his father died, and he went home to help his mother with his younger siblings. He was the oldest.
Él era el mayor, entonces durante esta crisis, él tomó un tiempo fuera de sus estudios en el seminario para ayudar a su mamá.
Yeah. His father worked in a brass factory.
I don't know how you say brass. Metal. I'm going to say metal.
Father Jonathan
look
is,
it up.
he's our
I'm right here.
Yeah,
our
yeah.
expert.
Ready to go.
Okay.
Laton.
¿Cómo?
Laton. Lato with an apostrophe over it.
Could be. I never heard the word brass.
I never heard it either.
Su papá trabajaba en una fábrica el padre Jonathan dice que es latón.
Yeah. And in the factories, there were a lot of chemicals that were being used to work with the metal.
En las fábricas tenían muchos químicos para trabajar con los metales.
And so it must be, as is still true today with a lot of jobs, it's a very dangerous job because of the things that you inhale. Yeah.
Como es verdad hoy, era un trabajo muy peligroso por respirar fumes,
like smoke.
por la respiración,
Yeah.
los humos. Yeah.
So, but the Bishop of Hartford assigned him to St. Mary's Seminary in Baltimore, Maryland, which is my alma mater.
El obispo de Hartford lo asignó al seminario de Santa María en Baltimore, Maryland, la universidad, el seminario del Padre Larry.
And he did 4 years there. He did his theology at St. Mary's in Baltimore.
Estudiaba allí 4 años, los años de teología.
Yep. And he was ordained at the Basilica, the original, the founding, the mother church of the Catholic Church in the United States.
Él fue ordenado en la Basílica, la iglesia materna en los Estados Unidos.
And so he's going to be beatified. And you know what really confuses me is that we haven't heard anything about it in the local press or the television or nothing.
Yeah, just by accident that I bumped into it.
Yeah,
on the internet.
this is a big thing. Huh?
Es muy sorprendente de que eso es algo muy importante, especialmente para nosotros en Connecticut, en esa área, y no se ha escuchado nada de esto en los periódicos locales de la iglesia.
Yeah. He, because he was from an immigrant family, his mother and father came from Ireland during the potato famine.
El hecho de que él era de una familia inmigrante, sus papás vinieron de Irlanda durante el famine, el crisis de las papas.
Yeah, and
I almost said los papas. That would be the popes.
the popes.
Not the potatoes.
Yeah, no, the popes are always in crisis, I think. But yeah, the potato famine. So the economy of Ireland collapsed, and so people fled by the hundreds of thousands to other countries to survive. And he was born here in Waterbury.
La economía de Irlanda se destruyó, entonces la gente salieron, por miles y miles de ellos, y entre ellos sus papás, y el padre Michael nació aquí en Waterbury.
Mm-hmm. Right here in Connecticut. And so he was always concerned for the poor and the children of the poor.
Entonces, él siempre estaba preocupado por los pobres y los hijos de los pobres.
So that's why he founded the Knights of Columbus.
Es por eso él fundó los Caballeros de Colón.
Yep. And now there are more than 2 million Knights of Columbus all over the world.
Hoy en día hay más de 2 millones de Caballeros de Colón a lo largo del mundo.
It's still somewhat an insurance company in a way.
Todavía sigue siendo una compañía de seguros.
Taking care of widows and orphans.
Cuidando a las viudas y los huérfanos.
But in addition to that, it's a philanthropic, it's a charitable fraternity.
Yeah. Además de esto, es un grupo de caridad filantrópica.
Yep. And I noticed that Windham Public Schools is distributing winter coats this weekend, I think. I saw it in the paper and I don't remember the date. But I think Windham Public Schools is going to be distributing winter coats. And on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the Knights of Columbus are doing that as well.
El padre leyó en el periódico que la escuela de Windham, este sistema de Windham, van a distribuir abrigos este fin de semana. Y los Caballeros de Colón lo van a hacer también el fin de semana de Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And that's right around the corner. A month. It's a month from now.
Yes.
I think the winter coat distribution was last weekend.
Oh, was it last
On the
weekend?
21st.
El padre Jonathan chequeó su computadora y nos asegura de que la distribución de la escuela de los abrigos fue la semana pasada.
Yeah, I was at Rec Park.
Father John keeps us from going too far astray.
No sabemos qué vamos a hacer cuando se vaya.
Yeah. But with him going to stores, unless we hire him to come back on Tuesday nights, we're going to be saying outrageous things. We'll be talking about the moon being made of green cheese and Martians.
Cuando se vaya sin él los martes, vamos a hablar de cosas increíbles, porque él no va a estar aquí para mantenernos en la verdad.
We could be in deep trouble. I know there are stations, Connecticut television stations that will be carrying the Beatification Mass, which is this Saturday, Halloween, at 11 a.m.
Hay muchas emisoras que van a transmitir la misa que va a ser este sábado, el día de Halloween, el 31 de octubre, a las 11 de la mañana.
Yeah. So that should be a very beautiful ceremony with not very many people attending.
Yeah, promete ser una ceremonia muy bonita, pero qué pena que no va a haber mucha gente en la presencia. Y eso va a ser, it's going to be in the cathedral in Hartford.
Yeah,
Va a ser
St.
la
Joseph's
catedral
Cathedral.
in Hartford.
But I think they're a hot spot like us in Wyndham, so I think they're going to be limited to 100. Aren't they? I think if you're a red zone, you go back to phase 2 numbers.
100 instead of 200.
Yeah, and that gigantic building.
So es muy posible en la catedral tan grande va a haber como 100 personas según los requisitos del Departamento de Salud.
But they have a church in the basement of the cathedral, a crypt church.
Okay, tiene una iglesia en el sótano de la catedral.
Yeah, and so they may have another 100 people down there with a TV screen or something.
Muy posible que tengan otros 100 personas abajo viéndolo por medio de la pantalla.
But I don't know because I haven't heard any publicity. There hasn't been any real.
No se sabe porque no se ha escuchado ninguna publicidad, ningún anuncio sobre este gran evento.
Yeah, so if you're free on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, that may be something that you will want to watch on your television. And some television stations archive their programming, especially things like this. So it may be possible to get it on your computer later in the day or next week.
Entonces, si usted está disponible este sábado, 11 de la mañana, sería muy bueno ver esta misa este sábado y muy posible más tarde lo van a poner en archivos para que puedan ver en la computadora después.
Now, I couldn't find an explanation for why the beatification is taking place on the 31st of October. Father McGivney died on August 14th, the vigil of the Assumption. But I think it's beautiful that he's being beatified on the day before All Saints' Day.
El padre no pudo encontrar la razón porque escogieron esa fecha, el 31 de octubre. El padre Michael murió en el día 14 de agosto, la vigilia de la Asunción de la Virgen María, pero el padre Larry piensa que es muy bonito que lo van a beatificar en la vigilia del Día de los Santos.
Yeah. Now, we should clarify that when we say Padre Michael, we're talking about Padre Michael McGivney.
That's right.
Padre Michael Castiblanco is on retreat praying for us.
Okay, hay que clarificar de que cuando hablamos del Padre Michael, que lo van a beatificar, no es el Padre Michael Castiblanco. Él sigue siendo pecador,
No. You're adding. Remember, he can see this later. People are chiming in here.
Well, we have just one question about the future, the mass schedule moving forward with my departure.
Well, we haven't quite completed that, but as soon as we figure out exactly what we're going to do, we'll be publicizing it here. The new schedule, we're sticking to the existing schedule until the end of the church year, which is November 22nd. Yeah. And so when we figure out what the new schedule is, we'll let you know, and it should be within a week or so. And it will go into effect the weekend of November 28, 29, I think.
The first Sunday of Advent.
First Sunday of Advent.
Okay, let me see if I can start that.
Yeah.
Okay, alguien hizo la pregunta en la computadora sobre el nuevo horario, ya que el padre Jonathan se va. El padre dice que todavía están tratando de confirmar los detalles en cuanto al nuevo horario. Entonces, seguimos con el actual hasta que se concluya el año litúrgico. El año litúrgico se termina el domingo antes del primer domingo de Adviento. El nuevo año litúrgico de la iglesia empieza el primer domingo de Adviento y este año es el, ¿qué?
28, 29, I
Como
think,
el
of
28,
November.
creo que es el domingo de fin de semana de Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the weekend of Thanksgiving.
So, en el primer domingo de Adviento es cuando se va a iniciar el nuevo horario. Y tan pronto que tengan todos los detalles, lo van a anunciar, claro, en las iglesias, pero también esa conversación puede ser para la semana que viene. Pero seguimos con el horario que tenemos hasta que haya, hasta que se termine el año litúrgico.
So two things are going to help us with the new schedule.
Hay dos cosas que nos va a ayudar con el nuevo horario.
Because we have been blessed with 3 priests in this parish for quite a while.
Okay. Hemos tenido 3 sacerdotes en esta parroquia por ya mucho tiempo.
But now that we will be having only 2 priests, we have to have a schedule that can be operated by only one.
Ahora que vamos a tener solamente 2 sacerdotes, tenemos que tener un horario que pueda funcionar con solo uno.
So the schedule that we have now has, am I correct in saying 11 masses? Do we have 11 masses?
On the
If you
weekend.
include your Eastern Mass
And your Concolic
And-
Mass?
Con College Mass, I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with 3 priests, we can handle 11 masses on the weekend.
Actualmente tenemos 11 misas todos los fines de semana. Eso incluye la misa para los estudiantes en Connecticut College y también los estudiantes en Eastern. So con 3 sacerdotes se puede cubrir esos 11 misas.
And 2 of us, Father Jonathan and I, are doing all those masses while Father Michael is away.
Y el padre Larry y padre Jonathan están celebrando esas 11 misas, mientras que Father Michael Castiblanco está fuera.
And after Father Jonathan is elevated to stores,
Después de que se eleven a Father Jonathan a Stores,
Father Michael and I will continue with the existing schedule, but it will have 1 less mass because you will be doing Connecticut College from Stores,
Right.
but we'll still have Eastern.
so cuando se vaya Father Jonathan, Father Larry, Father Michael Castiblanco van a continuar con las mismas 11 misas, pues serán 10, porque Father Jonathan estará celebrando la misa en Connecticut College.
So, so we are going to have to contract the number of masses.
Entonces es obvio que hay que reducir el número de las misas.
And also, what we're working on feverishly now is to live stream the masses from the churches instead of from the chapel here.
Y lo que están trabajando fuertemente ahora es poder transmitir en vivo las misas desde las iglesias en vez de la capilla.
Right. So instead of having 2 additional masses here in the chapel, we will be live streaming masses that are being celebrated in the churches of the Corpus Christi parish.
Entonces, en vez de tener las misas transmitidas de la capilla aquí, tendremos dos menos porque las misas estarán transmitidas desde la iglesia.
Right. So now, with 2 priests, we have to have a mass schedule that could be celebrated by 1 priest for a short period of time.
Entonces, ahora con 2 sacerdotes, tenemos que tener un horario que un sacerdote puede manejar por un tiempo.
Yeah. So if either one of us should be sick or be away for vacation or retreat, the mass schedule needs to be, although it's demanding, it would need to be possible for 1 priest to do the masses of the weekend.
Entonces, en caso de enfermedad de uno de ellos, o uno está de vacaciones o en su retiro espiritual, el que se queda, tiene que ser posible para que el que se queda pueda manejar el horario, aunque sea un poquito fuerte, pero sea posible para él.
Yep. So that's why it's going to take us a little bit to figure out exactly how to do that, but as soon as we figure it out, we'll share it with you.
Es por eso necesita un poquito de tiempo para confirmar todos los detalles, pero tan pronto que tengan todo en orden, ellos van a compartirlo con ustedes. Yo no sé cómo dice en español.
It sounds just the same.
Don't ask me any questions that I can't handle.
Well, there is a follow-up question to what
follow.
You just said. The same parishioner, in fact, it's Sandy, and she disclosed her name, Sandy Bailey.
Okay.
She's just wondering what she and the rest of the people can do to support our priests in light of this this change with me leaving. Now there being only 2 priests. What can she and the laity, I think, do to help support not only you but also the mission of the church?
That is an excellent question.
I added the mission of the church, but I think that's where she's going.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Excellent question.
Otra pregunta que viene es que una persona quiere saber qué es lo que ella y los laicos pueden hacer para apoyar a los sacerdotes en la misión de la iglesia.
So, obviously, the first answer is pray.
La primera respuesta es orar.
Pray for your priests. That's not just because we're experiencing shorthandedness now, but you should always be praying for your priests because we're just regular guys, you know?
Que oren por sus sacerdotes y no solamente porque estamos en crisis, es algo que los laicos, los fieles deben hacer todo el tiempo porque son regular guys. Personas normales.
Normales might be a stretch, but so that would be the first thing to do.
So, número uno es orar por ellos.
Yep. The second thing is to pray for vocations.
La segunda es orar por las vocaciones sacerdotales.
Now, I just today got a pastoral letter from the bishop about vocations, which is a little late to put in the bulletin because it's expected to be in this weekend's bulletin. So, but the pastoral letter is about vocations to the priesthood.
Hoy el padre Larry recibió una carta del obispo sobre las vocaciones sacerdotales.
And
El deseo del obispo es para que se publique este fin de semana.
mhm. And you know, I was talking to someone this week who said, why is it that we don't have more vocations to the priesthood?
Él estaba hablando con alguien esta semana y la persona le preguntó por qué no tenemos más vocaciones sacerdotales.
And clearly one of the reasons that most people think, or two of the reasons that most people think we don't have more vocations to the priesthood are the child abuse scandal.
The first reason?
Well, it's not necessarily the first, but it's one.
Okay, una de las razones,
Yeah.
obviamente una de las razones porque la gente piensa que no tenemos más sacerdotes es por el abuso del clero.
And another reason is the celibacy of the clergy.
Otra razón es la ley de celibato de los cleros.
And while those are undoubtedly two important considerations for some young men,
Sin ninguna duda, ellos son consideraciones muy importantes para algunos hombres jóvenes.
my own theory is that vocations that demand a great deal of self-sacrifice are not consistent with contemporary American standards of success.
Okay. La teoría del Padre Lare es que vocaciones que exige un cierto nivel de sacrificio no encuadra con la sociedad actual en la cual vivimos.
Society in general, for the last, 25 years, more than 25 years, probably since the 70s or so, has emphasized the fact that success, if you want to be successful in the United States, your success is measured by the things you have.
Por los últimos 25 años, Estados Unidos, el mensaje ha sido de que si uno quiere ser exitoso, el éxito está medido por las cosas, las posesiones de uno.
It's the same reason that we often have difficulty getting volunteers for different endeavors.
Es la misma razón porque a veces es tan difícil conseguir voluntarios para diferentes actividades.
It's why we have a shortage of teachers, nurses. I mean, there are so many professions now that are experiencing a decline in the number of young people attempting to enter into those professions.
Es la misma razón porque hay una escasez de enfermeros, enfermeras, maestros, maestras. Se ve muy pocos jóvenes entrando en esas profesiones.
The same is true for religious women.
Lo mismo para las consagradas, las mujeres consagradas.
Yeah. I mean, we see some few religious communities that seem to have quite a number of religious vocations, but when you consider the fact that that particular religious community serves the whole country, and that they can draw from the whole country, that might explain why they seem to have a dozen or 15 novices in a given year.
Hay ciertos institutos religiosos de mujeres que parece tener muchas candidatas, pero cuando uno considera de que esos institutos están sirviendo a todo el país, la posibilidad de reclutar de diferentes partes es mejor.
And the same thing applies to religious communities of men. The Dominicans, for example, have.
Y lo mismo también
Ujú.
para institutos de hombres. Las posibilidades de reclutar es más grande.
Yeah, but vocations to the diocesan priesthood have been in the past usually found among the members of a given diocese or archdiocese.
En el pasado, vocaciones al diocesan priests, sacerdotes diocesanos, normalmente viene de familias en la misma diócesis.
Yeah. So if you have the opportunity to encounter someone who you think would make a good priest or a good sister or brother, you shouldn't be afraid to say that.
Entonces usted se encuentra con una persona que usted piensa que puede ser que tenga una vocación a la vida
Total.
I know, but I'm getting all mixed up.
That's okay.
Que sería un buen sacerdote, un buen hermano, una buena hermana. No tenga miedo de decírselo a esas personas.
Yep. And tell them what it is about them that makes you say that.
Y decirles cuáles son las actitudes o características de ellos porque usted piensa así.
Yeah. So if you encounter someone who is compassionate or a good listener, or you may have any number of standards that you think would make a good member of the clerical or religious state, then share that with them openly and honestly.
So, entonces, si usted se encuentra con alguien que sea compasivo o que muy paciente o cualquier característica de que en su opinión puede ser bueno para un sacerdote, un religioso, una religiosa,
Yeah.
Compártelo con ellos, explíquelo por qué usted piensa así.
So that's another thing that you can do in addition to praying for the priests and religious that we have now.
So esa es otra cosa que puede hacer, además de orar por los sacerdotes religiosos que tenemos.
And we all have to be tremendously creative during this pandemic.
Todos tenemos que ser muy creativos durante esa pandemia.
So, I mean, we all know people who are confined to their homes out of fear that they're going to contract the coronavirus.
Todos conocemos personas que están en sus casas, que no pueden salir por el miedo de que van a caer enfermos.
And I know many of our Eucharistic visitors who bring communion to shut-ins are feeling frustrated that they can't bring communion to them right now because of the danger of transmission.
Y muchos de los ministros eucarísticos que antes llevaban la Eucaristía a las personas en sus casas, se sienten muy frustrados ahora porque no pueden continuar con este ministerio por el peligro de contagiar el virus.
And I know that frustration is felt by the homebound as well.
Y los que están en sus casas se sienten esa frustración también.
And whereas ordinarily we would go to the home, or people would be coming to church, In this particular time, we're restrained by the regulations for the protection of the population.
Todos nos sentimos muy frustrados porque normalmente estaríamos visitando a la gente o la gente acudiendo a la iglesia, pero por los requisitos del Departamento de Salud, eso no es posible.
Mm-hmm. So if you can think of something that that you can do to strengthen the body of Christ, the mystical body, something that you can do to serve, give us a ring, send us a note. Let us know what it is that you've thought of that you yourself would be willing to participate in, and maybe we can figure out a way to do it.
Entonces, si usted piensa en algo que le gustaría hacer para fortalecer el cuerpo de Cristo, déjanos saber por medio de una llamada o una notita, y juntos vamos a hablar a ver cómo se puede hacer, cómo puede ser posible.
We have been delighted to receive donations of food. I should add, at this time, we have been very fortunate to receive donations of prepared meals, which is a joy for us.
Ellos han recibido muchas comidas preparadas por la feligresía y están muy, muy agradecidos.
Yeah. And we're very grateful for that. There are just so many things. I would not underestimate the prayer one, though. I listed it first because it's the one you would expect to hear from me, but it's also, I think, it's our strong suit if we were playing cards.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
Prayer.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. I mean, without prayer,
Yeah.
we're not going to get through this.
No.
Yeah. So él quiere enfatizar la importancia de la oración. I mean, se supone que él lo iba a decir,
Yeah.
pero es importantísimo que la oración sea número uno para que todos podamos salir de esa pandemia.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember that St. Joseph's Church is open pretty much every day from 8-ish, 9-ish in the morning until 4 or 5. It's getting dark early now, so we'd like to close up the church when it's getting dark outside. But if you want to visit the Blessed Sacrament, I mean, every time I go over to the church, there is almost always somebody there in prayer.
Y recuerden de que la iglesia San José está abierto todo el día, desde las 8 o 9 de la mañana hasta que empieza a oscurecerse. Pero cada vez que él entra en la iglesia para cerrarla, siempre hay alguien allí, casi siempre hay alguien allí.
Yeah. Yeah, you're always welcome there. And then at all the masses, and Exposition of the Blessed Sacrament takes place on Thursdays from after the 9 o'clock morning mass until noon at St. Joseph's.
Exposición del Santísimo se hace los jueves, después de la misa a las 9 hasta el mediodía.
And at Sagrado Corazón on Thursday afternoon, there is a holy hour at 5 p.m. and a mass follows that at 6.
Y en Sagrado Corazón, el mismo día jueves, a una hora santa a las 5, y a continuación a las 6, la Santa Misa.
Yeah.
Would you just share your thoughts on the possibility of offering communion services as a replacement, perhaps, or in substitution of a mass with the assistance of a deacon, and whether or not that is a possibility?
It's not.
It's not.
No, it's not a possibility at this time. That's a diocesan regulation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
La pregunta del padre Jonathan, preguntándole al padre si es posible de que en vez de una misa, si fuera posible una celebración de la Eucaristía con un laico, con un diácono, si es posible o no. Padre Larry dice que no, según las pautas de la diócesis no está permitido.
Yeah. That's a standing rule.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall that anything in the directives, we got all these directives on how to return to public celebrations of Mass with 61 points.
Mm-hmm.
And not one of them indicated that communion services would be an option.
Recibieron de la curia unos indicaciones de cómo regresar, de abrir de nuevo las iglesias después de tener cerradas, ¿no? Había 61 puntos y ninguno de ellos menciona celebraciones de la Eucaristía con laicos.
Yeah. One of the great joys at St. Joseph's Living Center, just within the past couple of weeks, has been the fact that they are having masses at the Living Center under the most strict circumstances imaginable. The masses not in the chapel because of the social distancing, but is in, you know how the Living Center is designed like a square, and each of the sides of the square is thought of as a wing. And so the Mass is celebrated in each wing separately at different times on different days. Father Benjamin has been coming in to do that. Yeah.
Una alegría para los residentes en el Living Center, St. Joseph Living Center, es que han empezado de ofrecer la misa. El Padre Benjamín viene y hay diferentes áreas en el Living Center donde se celebra la misa. No se puede celebrarlo en la capilla por la cuestión de la distancia social, ¿no? Entonces, se están haciéndolo en diferentes partes del Living Center en diferentes días. El Padre Benjamín lo está haciendo.
Yeah. So for many of the residents there, it has been such a long time without the Eucharist that, of course, they're able to watch on television and whatnot, but it's not the same as being able to receive communion. And so there's a great deal of joy there.
Hay mucha alegría entre los residentes porque ha sido tanto tiempo sin la Eucaristía. Claro, ellos están viendo la misa en la televisión, pero como ustedes saben, no es lo mismo porque no pueden recibir la Eucaristía. Entonces, tener la Eucaristía en persona es mucha alegría para los residentes en St. Joseph Living Center.
Mm-hmm. And they've been fortunate to have successive negative results to testing. And that helps because the rules are very strict in nursing homes regarding everything.
Las reglas en los nursing homes son muy exigentes, como ustedes saben, pero en St. Joseph Living Center han tenido la suerte, la bendición de tener muchas pruebas negativas por mucho tiempo.
Yeah. So we hope that continues at all the nursing homes. It's just such a frightening time.
Yeah. Nuestra oración es que eso continúe en todos los nursing homes porque es un tiempo de mucha preocupación.
A question did come up about St. Joseph's Church and how we sanitize the pews if the church is open all day and people come and go? Like, what is our practice and protocol there?
La pregunta que alguien puso es que si la iglesia está abierta todo el día, gente puede entrar, ¿cómo uno puede limpiar las bancas, la iglesia?
Yeah. Well, of course, the hand sanitizer is available at the
Exactly.
door.
Yeah.
That when people enter.
El sanitizer está en la puerta cuando la gente entra.
And I guess we just kind of assume that when people come there to pray, that they're conscious of the fact that other people will be coming in.
Asumimos de que cuando la gente viene para rezar, están conscientes del hecho de que vienen otras personas después de ellos.
Yeah. And the likelihood that many people will end up sitting in the same place is probably fairly slim.
Y la posibilidad de que mucha gente sentándose en el mismo sitio no se ve muy factible.
The CDC has indicated pretty generally that the transmission of the coronavirus takes place primarily through, I don't know what they call it, droplets, through transmission, person to person transmission rather than person to object transmission.
El Departamento de Salud, el CDC, ha confirmado de que la transmisión del virus es persona a persona en vez de persona a objeto. Entonces, hablando persona a persona, sí.
But if you have a suggestion on how we could improve on that, we would certainly want to hear it.
So, si usted tiene una sugerencia de cómo podemos mejorar en ese aspecto, están abiertos.
Yeah. That was a good question.
No, it's a great question.
Yeah.
And it was, from the beginning, it's been my impression that we're doing the best we can with what we have, knowing that if we sanitize the pews to the best of our ability, that would be doing our part in mitigating any kind of threat, as
Right.
best we can, but also knowing and recognizing that, like, the amount of time and effort and the amount of people required, if we were to do that every day, throughout the day, if you really focus on it, you can really go down this rabbit hole, and now you're in this position of needing to sanitize all the time throughout the day, multiple hours a day, in order to ensure that. So there's a level of risk assumed, I think, in general, but we're doing the best we can to ensure that for those moments of prayer where a lot of people are present, those pews are taken care of as best we can.
Right.
Estamos haciendo lo mejor que podemos para asegurar de que no hay riesgo en esos momentos cuando hay mucha gente en celebraciones o misas, de que se limpian después, pero en momentos cuando una o dos personas entran, hay que dejar las manos a Dios.
Not to say that our system is perfect. We can always better, and that's what you're saying, Father Larry.
El sistema no es perfecto, entonces, como dijo el padre, si hay una sugerencia para mejorarlo, están abiertos para escuchar. Pero la posibilidad de infección es más posible cuando hay mucha gente presente en vez de 2 o 3 personas.
Yeah. People seem to have their favorite pews.
Yeah.
They always sit in the same.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
I do too.
So. Am I forgetting something?
You sit in the same place too, the priest.
You do?
I do. Well, no, less now, because I don't go all the way over to the presider's chair much anymore. I tend to sit on the bench that's closest to the ambo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true.
So there are no more questions. There's a lot of writing there.
Yeah, there's some writing, but we answered all of the questions that were asked. So
Yeah.
thanks to those
Sometimes
of you.
people just say nice things.
Yeah, it's,
Oh.
Well, I think we've covered everything that we talked about at the pastoral team meeting.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, once again, if you weren't at Mass this weekend or haven't heard yet, Father Larry mentioned it a couple times during the talk, but I have been asked by Bishop Cody, appointed by Bishop Cody, to be administrator of the parish of Our Lady Queen of Peace in Stores in Coventry, and that appointment becomes effective November 9th.
Si no lo han escuchado todavía, aunque se lo ha mencionado aquí muchas veces en esta conversación, el Father Jonathan, el obispo, le pidió ser administrador en la parroquia de Nuestra Señora Reina de la Paz, que es la parroquia en Stores y en Coventry, empezando el 9 del próximo mes, noviembre.
Yep, so in just, I guess, 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, I'll be.
So Father Jonathan ya está llorando.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm packing a little bit already. You know, it's a bittersweet time, as you know, as you can imagine. This community is so important to me, not only personally, but just my overall formation as a person, as a priest. Thanks to you, thanks to the effect that this community has had. So it's bittersweet, for sure.
So él está muy agradecido por la posibilidad de estar aquí, entonces una mezcla de alegría y tristeza.
And I'm grateful for the well wishes I've received from the people so far. Each of you has just been so wonderful and kind and affirming too of me and my future role in service to the diocese.
Está muy agradecido por todas las afirmaciones que ha recibido por medio de ustedes y afirmándolo en su papel como sacerdote y ahora en el futuro en la diócesis.
And although I will be leaving, I will be back to the area on the Sunday before Thanksgiving for the interfaith Thanksgiving service that will be offered before the Wayne Walk for Warmth.
Okay, él se va, pero el domingo antes de Thanksgiving, él va a estar otra vez con nosotros en la oración de interfaith de muchas iglesias, que siempre se hace auspiciada por Wayne, iniciando la caminata para la calefacción.
Right, this year it's going to be held in the square on the Shabu stage. Hopefully the weather is great. I'm planning it with some of the local clergy, and I think it's going to be a very nice, simple event and time for prayer and reflection before the Walk for Warmth.
Él es parte del comité organizador y en vez de hacerlo dentro de una iglesia, se va a hacer en el Diocesan, en la tarima de Shabu, y va a ser algo sencillo, pero muy bonito.
So
esperemos verte allí. We hope to see you there.
Yes.
That's the Sunday before
Thanksgiving. Which is what, the 22nd?
And it'll be the last weekend of the existing schedule.
Right. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, coincides with the.
Esto coincide con la última semana del horario actual.
Oh, I see colors. Is that what happens when they swear?
Can we see as you share this? Can we see you as you share this? Sister Michelle, what do you mean by that? Can we see you as you share this? Oh, then see me personally. I'm here.
Come here.
I'm here. Sorry. So, here I am. I've already, I guess, shared it. And sorry, sister, for announcing this news to some of you. Yeah, not in front of the screen, but yeah, I'm leaving. And
Did you see his haircut?
I got a haircut today. I have a cousin who is getting married this Friday. Hopefully the snow isn't too bad.
Snow.
There's supposed to be snow.
Here?
Snow Friday.
Snow.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many inches?
I don't know.
Have to
Anyway.
wait and see.
Yeah. At least so. Anyway, so I got a haircut for that, and
And
yeah,
to get rid of the gray hair.
yeah.
Doesn't show. when you get
It
your
doesn't.
haircut.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't show much. I don't know. Like that was the case last year, maybe, but now I feel like I can't hide it anymore. It's coming in. It's coming in strong.
Diet.
You're not
Diet.
translating.
What?
Diet.
Diet?
Yeah.
Oh no way! No way! Gray is in, sister. You have to understand. Gray is in.
Oh, then I'm completely in.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
You're not translating.
Oh yeah. Come on.
Oh, I've lost the trend of thought.
Oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's been an emotional weekend, as you can imagine, not only for me, but I'm sure for some of you. Just change is tough.
Ha sido un tiempo muy emocional, no solamente para él, pero muchos, porque el cambio siempre es difícil.
And so during these days, I am more focused, I think, on packing and getting everything in order. And so although I may not be communicating some of those emotions right now of just sadness, they're there, and I'm sure they're going to come back in a week or so. But right now, I've kind of focused on the practical aspects of moving, and I haven't given much thought over the last 24 hours, I guess, about just the reality of this move.
So él ha estado enfocado en los puntos prácticos de empacando y todas esas cosas para la mudanza, y las emociones están allí, y muy posible que después de que termine todo esto van a salir otra vez, pero el enfoque ahora es la mudanza.
But I spoke with the planning committee for the interfaith service, Thanksgiving interfaith service that will be held on the Shabu stage today, and I was just communicating to them how important I believe it is to stay active and involved in this community, which extends not only, it's not just Wyndham and Willimantic, but it extends more broadly to this whole area. So even though I will be in stores, I will very much be, I think, tapped into this wider community that's centered on service and care for our neighbor.
Aunque él va a estar en stores, él va a quedarse conectado con esa comunidad. El enfoque de esta comunidad es en el servicio y cuidando al prójimo, y eso es muy importante.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's that.
Eso es todo.
What do you think?
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia, el Señor es contigo. Bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito sea el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte.
Amen.
Amén.
Ciao. Thank you, sister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Can you come next week too?
He's still going to
He's
be
still
okay?
gone.
Oh.
Oh, we'll see. Cliffhanger.
That snowstorm that's coming up. What's the date that he comes?